but I'm going to try to explain this real quick using an example in this book. Someone tried, well, I had a subscriber that is confused about the difference between criminal astrology, horary astrology, uh, you know, what is horary astrology? And I sent about, I think we were sending about 10 text messages back and forth to each other. And I think I should just do this real fast because there's a quick little example in this book that I really love because I feel like it really, when I first got this book, and I mean, I already knew about horary astrology, but he gives an example in this book that I think really uh, can explain what is horary astrology. Okay, so horary astrology is having a question, what, a decent question. It can't just be like weird questions. I mean, it has to be questions that that can be answered, right? Like marriage, where's my missing cat, where's my missing dog, missing people, missing jewelry, things like that. Okay, so here is a chart that he uses as an example, and this is in the very beginning of his book. Okay, which he learned from William Lilly, who is the ancient Horary astrologer from the 1600s. And he predicted the fire of London, he predicted wars, he predicted huge shipwrecks, and he was brought to trial for witchcraft. But they were going to accuse him of being a witch, but he denied everything, and he said he used the wrong chart. But astrologers know that he did not, that he wasn't using the wrong, that he wasn't. Everything he said was 100% legit. And this is kind of gives an example of how we do what we do. Okay, it's not tarot cards. It's not, but tarot cards are very much so connected to astrology. Okay, so every tarot card is based upon astrology. All the medicine that you take is based upon astrology. The way that hospitals run is because of astrology. When you go to your doctor's office, and there's symbolism in the doctor's office, the two snakes going up, the pole, that's all part of astrology. Okay, Mercury, and trying to balance the good and the evil, and the Asclepius, like that's all part of astrology. Okay, so we're all connected. It's all connected. And so I'm just going to try to explain. Okay, his question is, he had a neighborhood cat that belonged to his neighbor, and this cat would always come over and visit him. Okay, and he really enjoyed the cat. The cat made him happy, made him feel at home, right? And he was feeding it and all that other stuff. So he does feel concerned about the cat because the cat stopped showing up, right? Okay, so here's his question. Where is the cat? August 30th, 1998, at 9:20 a.m. in London. So at 9:20 a.m. is when the thought appeared in his head on this date. Where is the cat? Sorry, my dog's next to me and she's moving the bed. Okay, so the quadrant is in the first house, okay? And it's being ruled by Venus because we have Libra there. We can look at the degrees. We can look at the rising sign. The AC line is here, the sign of Libra. So this tells me about the person asking the question, okay? Meaning that the person asking the question is going to take on many characteristics of Venus and Libra, okay? So, I'm trying to explain this without getting this really discombobulated in my head. And I hope my hand isn't too shaky. So his question is, where is the cat? So small domesticated animals is ruled by the 6th house. And he rectified a chart without all the lines and all the distractions from, all the other planets. So he just pulled Jupiter. Why he pulled Jupiter is because Pisces is here on the 6th house cusp. So Pisces is ruling the planet of Jupiter. And the ancient planet of Pisces is Jupiter. Neptune is the newer planet that rules Jupiter. So in Horary Astrology, you go off of the ancient planets, and that would be Jupiter. And Jupiter is sitting in retrograde. You see that little RX next to it? That RX basically means that the planet is in retrograde. Again, everything in the medical field, you think of the little prescription RX, to make you better. That's where we get it from. Planets not being themselves, doing things backwards, right? Going in an opposite direction. So you have that little RX there. So, all these things are connected. Even the herbs that we grow are connected to planets. It's crazy. Every herb name is named after a planet. And the element that rules that herb is connected to a planet. So, yeah, it's pretty interesting. So the first house is myself, my face, my body, the face that I present to the world. And the seventh house is everyone else. That's not me. This is me, and this is everyone who's not me. Could be my open enemies. It could be my marriage. It could be my open relationships, right? So that's the seventh house. So that's why in criminal astrology, I look for the victim in the first house and on the rising sign, and then we look to the DC line for the open enemy to the victim. What attracts the open enemy to the victim? There'll be a connection here, right? The polar opposites of what attract. If I'm looking for a killer or rapist or things like that, I can look in the eighth house. But the eighth and the seventh house rule the bad guys, really, okay? People that don't have good intentions towards my victim could be in the eighth and seventh house. The fourth house describes the area or the circumstances surrounding the end of the matter. It can give an idea of the terrain that a person might be in or the circumstances that surround a victim at the end of the matter. But you also have to consider what's ruling the victim, the degree that's ruling the victim, the direction, and what is more prominent in the chart, right? So if you have more water in the chart, then you would need to take that into consideration. If it's in a cadent house, you'd have to take that into consideration because a cadent house isn't always the best for a victim to show up in, because it can mean that it's going to take longer to solve the case or longer to find them, that there could be some, it's just the cadent houses are not as powerful as some of the other houses. So that's another thing that we look for is if it's in a cadent house. Okay, so, all right, so quite simply, okay, so, all right, just to give you an example how this works too. So the second house is ruled by Taurus. And it's the house of like my possessions. So if you're looking for a lost item like a necklace or something missing, but you can also look at an animal as a possession, your home, your property, and how, your own money. Your own money is in the second house. The eighth house, which is the opposite, is everybody else's money, my spouse's money, right? Inheritance is in here. Sex, death, taxes, inheritance, transformation is here. So how I make my money, my own possessions, and everything that belongs to everyone else is in here, okay? Third house, this is like ruled by Mercury. It's ruled by Gemini. So the third house is communication, short distance travel, your neighbors, your siblings, right? But it also rules like school field trips and schools and your schooling in your younger years, okay? And then the ninth house is schooling in your older years. So college years is the ninth house. Higher learning, higher education, higher training, philosophy, spirituality is here, okay? So you can kind of see how they play off of each other. Fourth house is my home, my safe place. It's next to the IC line, Imon Kuli. And then you have the opposite is your career, your home, your safe place, how you maintain your home, things going on in your home. And the 10th house is how do you maintain the home, right? Your career, your reputation, another way of how you make money, okay? So, or how you will provide for yourself can also show up in your career house and your reputation. And this is your safe place. So you can see how they kind of play off each other. The fifth house is the home of leisure. Uh, it's also where you find children are in the fifth house. Also can tell us about your fertility in the fifth house. So, if you have Venus or Jupiter in this house, being ruled by a water sign that's very fertile on your natal chart, uh, you know, that's good. But if it's Capricorn ruling this house, or if you have another uh, sign that's not very fertile, or if you have Mars in here, you could have an injury that could delay pregnancy. Or Mars, yes, he is the planet of passions and desires and stamina, and it's the Mars symbol is a symbol of male bravado, but he also can rules like your blood pressure and things like that. So if you have Mars in the fifth house, not always, but it can mean that you could suffer a miscarriage. So you want to look for Venus, Jupiter, and the moon in the fifth house for fertility. Those are and having a water sign here. That would be really good for fertility. If Capricorn is there, there's a delay. There's some type of delay with your fertility. Virgo could be a delay as well with fertility. So, not that I'm saying Virgo's not fertile. It's just sometimes there can be. It's not the most fertile of all signs there, right? So we look to see what's in this house, and then we look to see what's also ruling the first for fertility. And then just that, not saying that a person can't get pregnant, but like if Venus is in retrograde, in that could be a delay as well. Just that not that you can't get pregnant, but just that there could be some type of delay. Am I drawing on this? Okay, so the sixth house rules your health, how you are of service to others, how you take care of small pets, right, is in this house. So that's why his question is, where is the cat? You look to the sixth house, okay? So where is the cat? Small domesticated animals, larger animals, okay? So this is the house that you look for pets. And he has Jupiter here. So it's good because why? Because Pisces is ruling the sixth house cusp. So that means that Jupiter is its ruling planet. Its ancient ruling planet is Jupiter, and Jupiter is in this house. So the cat is at home, okay? His cat is the cat that he's been caring for and worried about is at his neighbor's home, all right? It's in RX, so, maybe there's something emotional happening there, maybe something that's keeping him there, right? Because RX means retrograde. Now, because it's in retrograde, it can mean that there's a delay of him coming back to him, but he will eventually come back to him, right? Eventually he's going to come back. You can also look to see where the moon is, an aspect to the person asking the question. So, or if Jupiter was like 30 degrees apart from the ascendant, I think that's a positive. If the moon or this planet was in the second house, because the second house rules your possessions, right? You can kind of think of as a cat as a possession, or if you were looking for lost jewelry, you would look to want to see if the planet shows up in here. That's a positive that it could come back to you. Same thing with the first house. It's coming home to you, right? The moon in the first house is that you'll usually eventually find it, okay? So it's a positive. So you can also look at the moon and follow the moon and see how long it takes the moon to get back to the person asking the question. It can kind of give you a time frame. So I hope that makes sense. So, where is the cat? The planet that rules the cat is Pisces, which is its ancient planet, is Jupiter. Jupiter is in the house that rules the cat. That means the cat is home. And the cat, Jupiter in crime is like 50-50 for a victim. So like if my DC line was ruled by Sagittarius and then I had Jupiter in the seventh house, I'd be like, eek. Or if Jupiter was in the first house, I'd be like, eek. Because to me, that means that the open enemy is directly with the victims, right? That that they're there. Sorry, my daughter's playing a video game. So, you know, but sometimes Jupiter can bring luck to a victim. So it's like 50-50. But here, because it's in the house that we're asking where the animal is, I feel like even though Jupiter's in retrograde, it's still showing up as a positive. It's a very positive planet. It's a planet of luck. So, you know, you think about Trump when he got shot, Jupiter was playing a role in his death. Not his death, I'm sorry, in his attack, right? So one person got the worst of it because when Trump was shot at, someone else passed away, and then someone was lucky. So like I said, Jupiter is a weird one. It's 50-50 in crime. It can mean that a victim gets the worst of it or a victim gets the best of it. So you have to look at everything else that's surrounding the chart to come up with that conclusion about Jupiter. But for here, Jupiter is very positive. The cat is home. The cat's at home. Okay? So, and it's in a water sign, so it's probably very, you know, it can be emotional. It can be that it's feeling comfortable because, you know, water signs want things to be homey and comfortable and things like that. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it just, they want things to be comfortable more so as the water signs. So, okay. I really hope that this makes sense. And, you know, so when the question pops in your head, that's the chart that you would rectify the chart for. And then, like, if you ask another astrologer, they can rectify a chart over top of their head. So for crime, we're going off of the date of the crime, looking for a missing person. So just like your natal chart, the day that you're born, that's why it's so important that the hospital writes down your date of birth and the time that you came into this world. Because astrologers used to run the hospitals, guys, okay? So that's why it's extremely important that we get your birth time. And it's documented because it's always been that way since ancient times. So, you know, the victim is here, and then we look at the date of the crime, the time of the crime, and the city and state of the crime. And we look for this ruling planet would be Venus for the victim, right? And whatever house that shows up in and the degree that's in, that's how we can kind of track the victim. And then the DC line would rule the open enemy to the victim, and then we would track his planet and see what house that shows up in. And that's basically how you do it. Sorry, the dog's jumping all around. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. And like I said, the 8th and the 7th house is kind of where we look for the bad guys in the charts. I hope this answers some of the questions that my subscriber had. I have a hard time texting this stuff out, so I thought I would just try to, real quick, just give you a perfect example of you know, how he did this. And this is a very easy chart. Most of the time they're not this easy. Most of the time Jupiter's not here when I'm looking for missing animals or missing people. But this was a very easy, lucky chart. The cat is safe. The cat is home. So that kind of can give you an idea. Here's the querent asking the question, where is the cat? The 6th house rules the cat. And the planet that rules the cat is Pisces. Jupiter is the ancient planet of Pisces. So the cat is at home. I hope that makes sense. Okay? And helps you better understand. All right. Blessings to you all. God bless you all. Take care of one another and be kind to one another. I'll be in touch soon. Bye-bye now.